Hello, I'm reading from a copy of Self-Realization Fellowship Lessons that I downloaded from angelfire.com. I'm starting at the beginning of S1P13. This is a poem, God, 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 by Paramahansa Yogananda. From the depths of slumber I ascend the spiral stairway of wakefulness. I whisper, God, God, God. Thou art the food, and when I break my fast of nightly separation from Thee, I taste Thee and mentally say, God, God, God. No matter where I go, the spotlight of my mind ever keeps turning on Thee, and in the battle din of activity, my silent war cry is ever, God, God, God. When boisterous storms of trial shriek and worries howl at me, I will drown their noises, loudly chanting, God, God, God. When my mind weaves dreams with threads of memories, on that magic cloth I do emboss, God, God, God. Every night in time of deepest sleep, my dreams, my peace dreams and calls, joy, joy, joy. And my God comes singing ever, my joy comes singing evermore, God, God, God. In waking, eating, working, dreaming, sleeping, serving, meditating, chanting, divinely loving, my soul consistently hums unheard by any, God, God, God. Prayer. Teach me, O God, to sow the seeds of wisdom, health, prosperity, and happiness in the garden of my life. Destroy depression by substituting prosperity. According to the law of God and Christian brotherhood, this earth was meant to provide the shelter and supply of all mankind. The wealth of mines and other resources was to be distributed equally to those performing equal labors. And God established the law of divine birthright, that all men and women are made in His image, hence are essentially divine, and that all nations are of one blood, being descendants of common parents Adam and Eve. If you believe in this fundamental relationship, if you feel love for all the world's inhabitants as for your own family, recognizing no inner difference between any of the outwardly different nationalities, then you are establishing a legitimate astral right to your share of Earth's capital. Those who seek prosperity for themselves alone are in the end bound to become poor or to suffer from mental inharmony. But those who consider the whole world as their home, who really care and work for group or world prosperity, activate astral forces that lead them ultimately to the place where they can find the individual prosperity that is legitimately theirs. This is a sure and secret law. Whether one prospers is not dependent solely upon one's creative ability, but also upon one's past actions and on his present efforts to activate the astral law of cause and effect. If mankind as a whole behave unselfishly, the power of that law would distribute prosperity equally to all men without exception. Those who by potent good thoughts and actions rouse this astral power to create positive prosperity succeed wherever they go, whether they are in prosperous or poverty-stricken environments. Therefore, seek prosperity not solely for yourself and your family, but for a wider group, your friends, your country, the whole world. Eschew the desire for luxury. Learn to use less expensive things in an artistic way, with faith in the truth that you are a child of God and that as such you will have all the Father's riches, all the wealth of the earth behind you. When, by meditation, you release your consciousness from its preoccupation with human limitations and realize yourself to be truly a son of God, you will know also that whatever God has, you have. Your life goal. Most people live almost mechanically, unconscious of any ideal or plan of life. They come on earth, struggle for a living, then leave the shores of mortality without knowing why they came here or what their duties really were. No matter what one considers to be the goal of life, it is obvious that man's existence is so undermined with the immediate material needs that he must struggle to satisfy them. The believer and the disbeliever in God must work hard to provide food. Therefore, it is important that man should concentrate upon taking care of his real needs and not create additional burdens for himself by trying to fulfill useless desires for extra things. Do not wander aimlessly, lost in the jungle of life, your happiness continuously bleeding away from the thorn pricks of new desires. You must determine the goal of your life and find the shortest road that can lead you there. Do not travel unknown roads picking up new troubles. Too much ambition of the wrong kind is just as bad as too much passive contentment. As human beings, we have been endowed with needs and we must meet their demands. As man is a physical, mental, and spiritual being, he must look after his all-round welfare, avoiding overdevelopment of one side. To possess wonderful health and good appetite with no money to maintain the health and to satisfy the hunger is agonizing. To have plenty of money and chronic indigestion is deplorable. To have robust health and abundant wealth and endless trouble with oneself and others is pitiable. To have health, wealth, and mental efficiency but lack peace and knowledge of ultimate truth is useless, disturbing, and dissatisfying. Efficiency through concentration. Assuming that the goal of material life is maximum efficiency, peace, health, and success, what is the surest way to prosperity? Prosperity does not consist just in making money. It also consists in acquiring the mental efficiency by which one may uniformly acquire health, wealth, wisdom, and peace at will. Great wealth does not necessarily bring health, peace, or efficiency, but acquirement of efficiency and peace are bound to bring a properly balanced material success. Most people develop mental efficiency as a byproduct of their efforts for material success, but very few people realize that although money is made to give happiness, happiness cannot be found if, in order to acquire it, one develops an insatiable, soul-corroding desire for money. Mental efficiency depends upon development of concentration. One should know the scientific method of concentration by which he may disengage his attention from objects of distraction and focus it upon one thing at a time. By the power of concentration, man can use the untold power of mind to accomplish that which he desires, and he can guard all doors through which failure may enter. All men of success have been men of great concentration, men who could dive deeply into their problems and come up with the pearls of right solutions. Most people are suffocated by distraction and are unable to fish out the pearls of success. In concentrating upon his little physical needs, a man often forgets his greater need of developing mental efficiency in everything and acquiring divine contentment. Man is busy multiplying the conditions of his physical comfort that he considers many unnecessary things to be an essential part of his existence. The man of powerful concentration should ask God to direct his focused mind to the right place for success that is rightfully his. Passive people want God to do all the work. Egotists ascribe all their success to themselves. Passive people do not use the power of God residing in their intelligence. Egotists, although they may use their God-given intelligence, fail to ask and receive God's direction as to where and how the intelligence should be used. I can blame inertia as the cause of failure in the first instance, but it hurts me to see intelligent egotists fail after making a real and well thought out effort. However, even a man of concentration and power may dive deep into the sea of problems and still not find the pearl of success. There are many persons of powerful concentration who do not know where to strike success, and many brilliant people with efficient minds have starved or have had only meager success. This is where another factor in acquiring prosperity comes into consideration. All prosperity is measured out to man according to the law of cause and effect, which governs not only his life but all past lives. That is why intelligent people may be born poor or unhealthy, and a mentally mediocre person may be born healthy and wealthy. All men are originally sons of God, made in His image, having free choice and equal power of accomplishment. But by misuse of his God-given reason and willpower, man has fallen under the control of natural law of cause and effect of action, parentheses, karma, and has thereby limited his freedom to make a success of life. A man's success depends not only upon his intelligence and efficiency, but upon the nature of his past actions. However, there is a way to overcome the unfavorable results of past actions. The causes of failure must be destroyed and a new cause for success set in motion. God's will and your will. Mentally broadcast this truth. My Father and I are one, until you feel His overpowering, all-solacing bliss. When this happens, you have made the contact. Then affirm your celestial right by praying, Father, I am thy child. I will reason, I will act. But guide thou my reason, will, and activity to the right thing that I should do in order to acquire health, wealth, peace, and wisdom. Feel the presence of God first, then use your will and act. With His guidance, you will be sure to harness your will and activity to the right goal. God, the real source of our prosperity. God is the secret source of all mental power, peace, and prosperity. Why use the limited, impractical human method of gaining prosperity? By visualizing prosperity or by affirmation, you can strengthen your subconscious mind, which in turn may encourage your conscious mind. But that is all that visualization alone can do. The conscious mind still has to achieve the success and may be hindered by the unfavorable working of the law of cause and effect. The conscious mind alone cannot initiate a new cause that will bring positive success in any direction. But when the human mind attunes itself to God in the state of superconsciousness, it can be sure of success, for the superconscious mind is in tune with the unlimited power of God and is therefore able to create a new cause of success. The secret way to prosperity. The surest way to prosperity lies in establishing first your oneness with God and afterward claiming a divine Son's share. You must make the blissful union with God first by regular, ever-deepening meditation each day, according to the self-realization fellowship techniques. When you have achieved that attunement, your status will be changed from that of a mortal beggar to that of a divine son, and you will automatically gain what you need. The omnipresent Father knows all the needs of a true son. If in this way the poor win victories in the struggle to satisfy the demands of real necessities, they receive contentment and may live and die rich. That is real prosperity. But to live without contentment and die spiritually poor in spite of material riches is real poverty. Maintain a prosperous attitude by smiling no matter what happens. Do not be afraid to sell the bonds of smiles when the market of happiness is low. Keep smiling while planning and acting for success, and your smiles will fetch priceless treasure in the end. Wise, persevering activity with unfading smiles brings a sure success. Prayer for divine guidance and prosperity. Many persons have dived into the ocean of thine abundance again and again to seek the pearls of opulence, power, and wisdom. But only a few divers have found them. These few persons have praised the wondrous riches of thy sea because they have dived well and found the secret treasure nook. Those who dived in the wrong places blamed thy blue brine of abundance for being devoid of the most desired treasures. Many persons perish diving in
thy treasure see, being devoured by monsters of selfishness, greed, faithlessness, doubt, idleness, and skepticism. Heavenly Father, I will not say that thine ocean is everything is empty, for thou wilt show me that the fault is with my diving. I will put on the diving apparel of faith, power, and fortitude, and thou wilt direct my mind to dive in the right place where thy bounty is hidden. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. Real success does not perish with earthly life. Your success is conditioned by law of cause and effect and by your environment. Jesus said, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all things will be added unto you." When you have success by the material way, you are governed by the law of cause and effect. But when you have communion with God first, then success is given to you in innumerable ways, both subtle and material. Compare the lives of saints and others who have lived with God to the lives of non-spiritual people. The saints have everything because they have God. Do not cry because of the lowly position while you are on earth, nor beg for an improvement in it. In the last analysis, everyone will go to sleep in the cold earth. Every cent must be left behind by the millionaire. All children of God are equal. Don't desire things just because your friends have them. If it is money or health you are seeking, depending upon God is the surest way to obtain them. When you deserve them, you will get them. Success must always come from God. The world can give you just so much and no more, but God can give you health, prosperity, and wisdom without limit. Gold is not made by man, but by God. Man only makes the stamp. All things come from God. Not a grain of corn or wheat or a dollar is made by man, but by God. Why should you look to man for prosperity and health and happiness? Why not go to the source of life, without whose power you cannot live? Everything else has limited power, but God has unlimited power. Seek success from the source that can give to you unfailingly. For 50 years you may try to make $1 million and then lose it. Do not go that way. Why go the way of limitation? Seek the way that can never fail. God may take away something from you so that you will cease being immersed in matter and seek Him. Then, when you seek Him, you will find that which is lost. Isn't it greater to sweep the streets with God in your heart working through you than to be a millionaire riding a Rolls Royce with a cancer gnawing in your stomach and your entire being centered on your wealth? The conscious state is marked by restlessness and attachment. When you are greedy, your ego is centered on the palate, and it is the same with the other senses. That is why the saints say, possession is not a sin, but to be possessed by the possessions is wrong. You have to detach your ego from its attachments to the senses. I miss my coffee. I feel nervous. That is what attachment does. Affirmation. Since your thoughts and words are the seeds that will bring forth your harvest of the future, Since our thoughts and words are the seeds that will bring forth our harvest of the future, I will begin today to fill my consciousness with the ideas of abundance. Starting Self-Realization Fellowship Lesson S1 P14. For thee I was made, by Paramahansa Yogananda. I was made for thee alone. I was made for dropping flowers of devotion gently at thy feet on the altar of the morning. My hands were made to serve thee willingly, to remain folded in adoration, waiting for thy coming, and when thou comest, to bathe thy feet with my tears. My voice was made to sing thy glory. My feet were made to seek thy temples everywhere. My eyes were made a chalice to hold thy burning love and the wisdom falling from thy nature's hands. My ears were made to catch the music of thy footsteps echoing through the halls of space, and to hear thy divine melodies flowing through all heart tracks of devotion.
My lips were made to breathe forth thy praises and thine intoxicating inspirations. My love was made to throw incandescent searchlight flames to find thee hidden in the forest of my desires. My heart was made to respond to thy call alone. My soul was made to be the channel through which my love might flow uninterruptedly into all thirsty souls. Prayer. O divine sculptor, chisel thou my life to thy design. Humbleness versus egotism. Analyze your thoughts and see on what throne of consciousness your ego is seated. What kind of consciousness is predominant in your mind? Are your thoughts centered around yourself or on others? If the former, your selfish egotism drives wise men and truth away from you. Try to be humble instead of egotistical, and through the magnetism of humbleness attract the protecting presence of friends, saints, and God. Humbleness is a fertile valley of consciousness where the rain of God's wisdom falls fruitfully. As on a mountain peak no rain can gather, so also on an upthrust ego no waters of knowledge can collect. Egotism shuts the door of recipients through which knowledge enters. Humbleness opens the portals wide and bids all wisdom come within. Egotism is an obvious ugliness written on the face of the egotist and repels people, whereas humbleness is a fragrance that makes the bearer sweetly attractive to all. Egotism is born of an inferiority complex, which may appear as a so-called superiority complex, whereas humbleness is born of wisdom or knowledge of one's true self. Egotism refuses to investigate truth, whereas humbleness is always ready to learn. Egotism slaps wisdom in the face. Humbleness entreats the lotus feet of truth to enter the innermost sanctum of the soul. Egotism reveals its smallness by ineffectually trying to make others feel small. Humbleness is the manifestation of an understanding heart and sets an example of greatness for others to follow. Egotism is the brittle imitation armor of deluded souls, while humbleness is the inner costume of saints. Egotism repels friends in truth, humbleness attracts friends in understanding. The egotist, like an empty vessel, makes much noise, whereas the humble man is like a cask filled with the precious wine of wisdom. Man in his egotism reveals a limitation of knowledge, whereas God, who is all wisdom, is humble and never egotistical because he knows everything. Humbleness is magnetic and is a distributor of happiness and invites the all-protecting wisdom of true friends in God. The egotist shuts God out, daring to think much of himself while ignoring the omnipresence of God. The humble person knows that there can be no greater than God, and therefore he draws God to himself through the fragrance of his humility. The egotistical man has plenty of time to speak to others of his importance because he is not busy performing outstanding deeds. But the really great man is humble because he is so busy doing remarkable things that he has no time to speak of his greatness. The egotistical man watches some of his qualities so gloatingly that he forgets to acquire more good qualities. In fact, he manages to satisfy with his small attainments by making them look big to himself. Consequently, he does not progress. Humbleness belongs to the great, who do not stand apart and exultantly watch over their greatness. Jesus said that the least or the most humble one is the greatest in the kingdom of God. You will reap what you sow. If you want to be loved, start loving others who need your love. If you expect others to be honest with you, then start being honest yourself. If you do not want others to be wicked, then you must avoid doing evil yourself. If you want others to sympathize with you, start showing sympathy to those around you.
If you want to be respected, you must learn to be respectful to everyone, both young and old. If you want a display of peace from others, you must be peaceful yourself. If you want others to be religious, start being spiritual yourself. Remember, whatever you want others to be, first be that yourself. Then you will find yourself responding in like, you will find others responding in like manner to you. If you can discover and face your own faults without developing an inferiority complex, and if you can keep busy correcting yourself, then you will be using your time more profitably than if you spent it just wishing others to be better. Just wishing others to be better. Your good example will do more to change others than your wishing, your wrath, or your words. As a rule, only the small-minded persons and men and women who are ostentatious over just a little knowledge are offensively and dangerously egotistical. Such pride not only offends wiser people, it leads the egotist himself to his doom. Through his own short-sightedness, he becomes entangled in difficulties and failures. The law of service to others is secondary and corollary to the law of self-interest or self-preservation, which may be termed selfishness. No sane man ever does anything without a reason. No action is performed without reference to a direct or indirect thought, which is selfish. Giving service is indispensable to receiving service. Therefore, to serve others by giving financial, mental, and moral help is to find self-satisfaction. You can prove that service is not wholly unselfish by asking yourself this question. If you knew beyond a doubt that by service to others your own soul would be lost rather than strengthened, would you serve? If Jesus had felt that by sacrificing his life on the altar of ignorance he would displease God, would he have acted as he did? No. He knew that although he had to lose the body, he was gaining his Father's favor and emancipating his own soul. Such immortal sons of God and all martyrs and saints make a good investment. They spend a little mortal body to gain immortal life. Resurrect your consciousness. One important thing you have to do is resurrect your consciousness from the environment of ignorance. You must blame yourself for environmental troubles which you have been creating consciously or unconsciously somewhere, sometime in the past. Free yourself from all neurosis or complexes. What are you afraid of? You are neither man nor woman. You are not what you think you are. You are immortal. But be not immortally identified with human habits, because they are your deadliest enemies. Even in crucifixion, Jesus could keep his loving attitude and say, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. So must you forgive your trials and say, my soul is being resurrected. My power to overcome is greater than the oppression of my trials, because I am a child of God. Resurrect your soul from dreams of frailties into the light of eternal wisdom. What is the method? Meditation, exercise, relaxation, self-control, right diet, fortitude, and an undaunted attitude of mind. Do not acknowledge defeat. To acknowledge it brings greater defeat. You have unlimited power. You must cultivate that power. That is all. Meditation is the way to resurrect your soul from the bondage of the body and all your trials. Meditate at the feet of the infinite. Learn to saturate yourself with God. Your trials may be great, but your greatest enemy is yourself, your ego. Your real self is immortal. Your trials are mortal. They are changeable, but you are unchangeable. You can unleash eternal powers to shatter your trials. When you receive or realize by meditation the omnipresence of God, you can develop your mental powers by serious application. Your mental powers will then expand, and your cup of realization will be big enough to hold the ocean of knowledge. Ego's failure. Man's attachment to matter keeps the soul confined to the body prison and prevents it from finding freedom in God and the realm of eternal bliss. The ego attempts to satisfy through material channels the soul's constant insatiable longing for God. Far from accomplishing this objective, ego-driven sense gratification only increases man's misery. The soul's hunger can never be appeased by indulging the senses. When man realizes this and masters his ego, that is, when he achieves self-control, life becomes glorified by God bliss while he is still in the flesh. Then, instead of being enslaved by material desires and appetites, his attention is transferred to the heart of omnipresence, resting there forever in the hidden joy of everything. Thoughts to remember. An inferiority complex is born of a secret awareness of real or imagined weakness. In trying to compensate for such weakness, a person may build an armor of false pride and exhibit an inflated ego. Then those who do not understand the real cause of such an attitude may say the person has a superiority complex. Both manifestations of his inner inharmony are destructive to self-development. Both are fostered by imagination and by ignoring facts, while neither belongs to the true, all-powerful nature of the soul. Found your self-confidence upon actual achievements plus the knowledge that your real self, parentheses the soul, can never be inferior in any way, then you will be free from all complexes. Okay, that's it for today. I'm ending on page 5, S1, P14. Thanks for listening. Bye.